Hey guys, I am going to show you today a way that you can take notes for our list article research project. And we are going to be using, as the title suggests, the note card method. So how do we get from a book like this is the example that I'm going to use, is Isaac Newton, into a list article? And obviously this is not about Isaac Newton, but you get the picture. One way to do that is using note cards, so you can already plan out your sections and have everything organized, and then all you have to do is order it the way that you want to. So the first step would be to determine your 10 subtopics or your 10 categories, and those will be your top 10 items for your list. So mine would be the top 10 things to know about Isaac Newton. How I got mine was I looked at the table of contents in my textbook that I was using, and I took a lot of the main sections and I made those into my subtitles. I did change it a little bit because, one, I don't want to plagiarize, but two, it also made it a little bit more specific than what these titles were saying on the table of contents. So for example, for young Isaac, I have youth instead. For Isaac the student, I have education. Plague, I changed it to studies interrupted because that's the only reason they talked about the plague, was it kept him from studying in college or after college. Colors of the rainbow, I just changed that to rainbows. I didn't do Newton's apple at all. Newton's telescope, I put studying space. Laws of motion comes from Newton's laws of motion. Obviously, math instead of Newton the mathematician. Other jobs instead of what Newton did next, because it listed a bunch of other jobs he had. Knighted goes with Sir Isaac Newton because it's talking about when he was knighted. And then end of life, I put instead of after Newton. And then that Sir Isaac Newton page also had a couple of things on that. So those are my 10 categories. And when I write my article, these will be my subtitles. I might change it a little bit, especially the rainbows one. I probably don't just want to put rainbows under top 10 things to know about Isaac Newton, but those are my basic ones. Okay, and then as I take notes, I'm going to be writing details for each of these as I come across information that goes in it. So when I come across other jobs he did, I'm going to put them here. When it talks about his mathematics, I'm going to put it here. When it talks about his education, I'm going to put it on the education note card. Okay, so for example, this is the youth one. And notice that I just kind of did bullet points. You're not copying word for word because, as we all know, that's plagiarism and that is not okay. And then I just kind of wrote down key words or phrases that I saw. So he was born in Lincolnshire, England, on Christmas Day, 1642. I don't know if I'll actually use these because I don't think people will care about when he was born, but maybe they do. I think it's interesting that he was born on Christmas. More importantly, he was born prematurely, was not expected to live. Dad died before he was born. Instead of saying his father, who was a farmer, also named Isaac, died 3 months before Isaac was born. So I changed that and put that in my own words. Then from this page 7, or my last 3 are from there. The mom remarried and left with the stepdad. So he was raised by his grandma, and he never forgave his mom for leaving him. So I took some of the key details from this one and put it in my own words. You do need to make sure you write down the page number where you get each fact from. And I actually forgot to do that before I took pictures on my note card, so I just typed them in. But you will need your page numbers later when you use your information. So please try to remember to write down the page numbers where you get your information from. And again, you may or may not use all the facts you write down. So the more you can put, the better. And then later you can always revise and take some of them out whenever you're doing your paragraphs. Okay, here's another example. This one's about the rainbows. And he used a prism to show white light splits into many colors. He was studying how light works, and he proved that black is not just darkness and white is not just white light. So that's kind of the main purpose of that. And I put the page numbers for each of those. So I would continue doing that for all 10 of my cards. When you're done and when we're cleaning up at the end of each class, you'll have a paper clip, and you need to clip all of your cards together. The paper clip is not a toy. The paper clip is not something for you to bend into different shapes or to leave on the ground. This is how you're going to keep all of your cards together. I would recommend before you even start anything, just writing your name on the back of each note card. That way, if one does come out of the clip or if you drop it or whatever might happen, then we know which card or which person those cards belong to. So write your name on the back of every single card, not just on the back of the pack. Okay, so recapping, at the end of each class, you'll clip the cards back together. Your books will go back on the counter in the crates, nice and neat and gently. And then I will also have baskets on the counter labeled for each class, so you can put your note cards in there and they can stay at school. And so that is the note card method for taking notes for our list articles. This video is on Google Classroom if you would like to watch it again later, if you get stuck for what you're supposed to write on each note card. Talk to you guys later.